My name is Sheenika Gandhi. I'm the Director of Marketing at Greenberg Glusker. We're a full-service firm based in Los Angeles, California, and we have about 100 attorneys. I started at Greenberg Glusker July 2019. Before that, I was at a smaller law firm, 50 attorneys as their Director of Marketing, and before that, a larger law firm, 300 attorneys, as their digital marketing specialist. So I've been in legal marketing for 9 years. Before that, I was in law school and obtained my license to practice, but decided that legal marketing was much more exciting, so stayed with it.
Tell us a little bit about your firm, the size, focus areas, location.
Yeah, so Greenberg Glusker, we have 100 attorneys. We only have one location in Los Angeles. We have a full service firm. So we have about 9 main practice areas. The biggest ones are, corporate, real estate. We have a large entertainment practice, both transactional and litigation. We have a large litigation practice that goes beyond entertainment as well. Bankruptcy, private client services. It definitely varies in terms of what we can handle.
And so I guess that naturally leads to kind of, before using Pitchly and before coming to us, kind of what problems did you face at the firm?
Yeah, so to the credit of my predecessors, they had a lot of technology that they had implemented at the firm. So when I got here, it definitely felt really well staffed in terms of technology and being able to use different software to accomplish all of our tasks. One thing, though, that was missing was tracking our experience. And so that's something that I immediately saw as a gap, and I definitely wanted to fill it. So and by tracking the experience, right, we can then influence what goes on our website. It's easier for us to pull information for our pitches, and our matters were just everywhere. They were in the middle of chamber submissions or different Word documents. There were PDF forms that 2 of our practice groups had created, and they had attempted to track the information, but they were in PDFs, and so it wasn't easily accessible, and you can't really search against that. So we definitely saw that as a need, and I remembered Pitchly from when I was part of LMA and went to the tech conference. And so I called you guys up and I inquired as to whether you would be able to fit my needs and my budget. And it actually turned around pretty fast. And it was a really easy sell at the firm too, because one, they had a strong commitment to technology, but also they were looking for something to help fill this gap and to track their matters faster, as well as be able to create tombstones. And so tombstones has really been an important part of our marketing strategy, especially for our corporate department that has a large volume of deals that they're consistently closing, and they definitely wanted to be able to market that in some way.
Yeah, that's perfect. And that's very consistent with kind of what we see, obviously, is people having multiple document types, multiple stores of that information, and even then the final output often being used as the experience. And you use tombstones and going back to the tombstones and finding them, and then recreating them or redesigning them or reformatting, and then trying to capture that information. And I think one of the stories you've told me in the past, I would love for you to kind of recant that, but in particular, the encouraging and assisting your team, and I think the legal secretaries into using Pitchly. I'd love you to share that, because I think that's a great insight for the community.
Yeah, when you're in a mid-sized law firm, your marketing team often is very lean. And so we usually, when I think of team, I think of the entire law firm is coming together as a team to help us advance and really talk about what we do at the firm. So I knew that the secretaries had a lot of visibility with all of the deals that were happening, all of the litigation successes, and so I knew that I had to encourage them to one, learn about the firm, and to fill it out, of course, when they saw that a deal was closing. And so I bribed them with food, as most often we do here at the firm. Food is a really big part of of our culture. And so I hosted breakfast for them. I did it by practice group. And so I focused in on the corporate and real estate groups because they were the ones who were requesting this the most. And so had quick meetings with them, and really the meetings were only 15 minutes because it was so easy to show them the form and say, here's how to fill it out. Please, incorporate this into your process. They often have a process that goes from opening up the new matter to closing. So I said, just work it into when you're closing the matter. We would love this, information so that we can then promote it to wherever we need to, whether it's on the website or in pitches. And we just really depended on them to be able to help us to do that.
Yeah, and I love that because it's very practical, right? It's something that everyone can take away, and it kind of feels that way often in the BD function, that BD are in a world of their own sometimes, trying to fight an uphill battle. And I think that's a very simple example that we are all in this together, and that BD is an important part of everyone's role, and getting that. And I think you've also told me stories about your marketing emails. A similar story. It's more the the partners wanting access to that. They want that to go out. They want that to look great. And I think threading that needle, right? The secretaries can help fill out the information. You then get that information. It then makes the partners realize their goals in those marketing emails and those outputs as well. It's a great team effort. But I thought it might be interesting just to have another practical example of something you were working on recently with Alison and Jamie in your Pitchly account.
Yeah, and Jamie and Allison have been fantastic, and really the whole Pitchly team from the beginning. One of the stories was that I had so many of these Word documents and PDFs and chamber submissions. I just sent a really big email with all of this information, and they were able to front load all of that information into the database, making it we just had a great starting place to work from and be able to pull things and create the tombstones, frankly, from day one. So that was really great. And then we've continued to improve the database. And I am always pinging Allison and Jamie for new ideas. How can I do this better? We also have a marketing specialist on my team, and she's consistently using it as well. And so when she was in there, she had improvements to make as well. And so we'd get on a call, we'd, tell you guys about our issues. And then they, a couple weeks later, developers were able to implement. And I think being part of a team where it's so agile has really, really helped us to improve for the technology for our needs. And so one of the things that we did recently is actually, when I had first started off with Pitchly, I had created different databases for the practice groups. And then I realized quickly that that was just too much to maintain, and I wasn't able to search across all the databases at once. And so what I did is actually narrowed it down and made my life easier just by having a transactional database and a litigation database. And then I could do industry-based searches and pull up, give me everything in, maybe entertainment, whether it's, corporate or, deals or transactional work. I can pull different types of practice areas all within an industry search. So that was really helpful to help that. And Jamie and Allison were crucial in, helping me do that all in the back end. I really didn't have to do much except vocalize my vision, and then they were able to make it happen.
To think through, and it's that cross-sectional, so when you're grouping into that large litigation bucket, that can cover a lot of different services and specialties, and I think that's a good way to arrange it, and important too. And you mentioned your team, and I think it's important to note that you do have a team, and I think all of our customers and clients have a lot of ideas, and we try and put them into the product. They don't always look, how you ask for them, and often that's by design. We want to make the feature more applicable and bigger, and often rethink a lot of the workflows, because we don't want to recreate email and kind of SharePoint. That's not the goal of Pitchly. So we want to think a little bit differently. So thank you for that. And my final question was kind of in your experience, and you've mentioned a few things already, but kind of at your firm, how did you recommend Pitchly, and kind of what in your eyes is kind of makes Pitchly a good fit for that mid-sized firm?
Yeah, that's a great question. So just to reiterate, I think mid-sized law firms, two of the things that they often happen is that we have lean teams and we have limited budgets. And I think being able to sign on with a partner who recognizes that and is able to lend a hand and be an extension of our team, and then as well as being able to meet our budgetary needs, that I think was the most important in our consideration, and the way that I was able to sell it at the firm. It made for a really easy, sign on with everybody and wanting to be able to participate.